Hello everyone, this is Etox Edge here on Street Fighter V to talk about my, I guess, wish list, my hopes for the recently revealed Street Fighter VI. Not really a huge Street Fighter fan, but I figure now is the best time to do this if I was ever going to. So I'll talk about some general things. First of all, so obviously this is post all of the updates, but this is base Street Fighter V that I'm playing on currently, which leads me into my first point. I really think that to start, they should have a story mode base game. I think that would really be to their benefit, and this one's a bit more nitpicky, but I would say you should probably have more characters on base roster, because there was about, well, this right here will show us. Okay, so there was about like 15, 16. I honestly thought it was less than that. But still, I mean, I don't know, again, give or take, really. But definitely, I think
beyond the battle.
Story mode base game, and a lot of people will be happy with that. And probably, I would say, like, given, because we're looking at the roster again right now, 90% of it, or maybe 80%, is all DLC, which I think is kind of ridiculous. I know that this game lasted a super long time because they kept adding to it, but I think that the DLC roster shouldn't outweigh the base game or overshadow it, because I feel like that just gives off a look, like a bad message to your fan base. That's my personal opinion. As far as who should be on base roster, and sorry I'm not showing off a whole lot, but I'm trying to get a look at this to, you know, base some of my judgment. But like Poison, for example, on the far right, she was added to Street Fighter 4 after being out of the base game and Super Street Fighter 4, and now is DLC for 5. Absolutely, I think she should be base for once. She deserves it. She has a massive fan base, me included. Others that I would say fall under that are like the newer-ish characters, inspired by like the third game I think that's kind of odd that they didn't just put the characters from Third Strike into 5. So,
This is the path
you know,
of
but
my
since
destiny.
they're more or less the same, I say take it or leave it.
If you stand in my way, I will kill you.
Round 1.
As far as
Fight.
story is concerned, because you know the story is going to be a big part of it, and I think streamlining it would be the best way to go about it. Especially given that, like, outside of the story mode just being DLC, the story mode was pretty good in my opinion.
It can't be over.
First things first, I think to
Round
make
2.
it more digestible moving forward. For those that aren't aware, which I'm sure, you know, many hardcore Street Fighting fans already are, but like, Street Fighter V canonically takes place before Street Fighter 3, which is just extremely bizarre to think about. But that is the case. What I would do then is have 6 come after 3, and preferably keep it relatively on that track for a good while, and try to keep from doing prequels and in-betweenquels, because I think we've just had enough of that, frankly. Where I think the story should go moving forward is that you should have the Illuminati and Sin work together, because, you know, it kind of run through all the factions and everything, and a big, like, selling point as far as the DLC was concerned was,
Beyond the battle.
you know, not only Gil and Seth making a return, but the fact that they were in the same game, I thought was just really intriguing.
I'll show you the epitome of beauty.
And so I think that they should run with that and put them into 6 and have them both be a part of the story mode. So that way it raises the stakes a little bit, so that it's not just, you know, you're going up against
This is
this
the path of my
one
destiny.
evil faction, which
Let
is
my
more or
beauty
less
intoxicate
the same as the last evil faction, give or take a couple of details. But I think both Seth and Gil as characters are intriguing, as character designs. I think that they're more intriguing and there's more to do with them than just Bison or, like, Fang even. So that's what I would have them do. Again, not like a Street Fighter super fan, so I don't have a super detailed, like, plot written out or anything. That's just personally what I would do and how I would go about it. If I really put time into it, I probably could think up a base roster, a base, an outline of the story, etc. But as of right now, I just don't have that. I think if given the option, because I know a lot of people have been sort of, I don't know if complaining about is the right word, but like, they're not sure about the sort of gritty, realistic-ish approach that it looks like Street Fighter 6 has taken. I think it's fine, but maybe balance it with like still cartoonish shenanigans, like cartoonish stages. If not at, you know, at most, it'd be nice if you could switch between the style of graphics. Other than that, I trust them to have a good game, hopefully at launch, but at least as good as Street Fighter V turned out. And then, you know, I don't see any tweaks needing done to, like, the gameplay or anything. Street Fighter's more or less had the same gameplay, or at least, you know, legacy gameplay. So I think there's definitely gonna be an interesting new mechanic thrown in, but it's gonna be, you know, I don't have any ideas or preference as to what that could be or should be necessarily. If it was just like SF5, I would have no complaints. With that being said, I'm going to cut it off here. Hopefully somebody hears this and enjoyed my ramblings.